Pork brisket pastrami. Never done it before. We're gonna try it now. Let's show you how we do it. Let's go. We recently did a video on smoked pork brisket and it came out fantastic. I'll leave a link up here and in the description below. But based off how good that came out, I knew I had to try a pork brisket pastrami. I've never done a pastrami before, so I scoured the internet. I looked for a simple pastrami mix and I settled on the one that Smokin' Joe used from Smokin' Joe's Pit Barbecue to make a pastrami chuck roast. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna follow that recipe exactly, but use it for this pork brisket. So let's put this to the side, and the first step we're gonna do is we have to get our brine made. We have our pan, because we're gonna warm up some of these ingredients to start. So let's turn this on medium. Allow that to warm up, and we'll talk about what we have here. Now in Smokin' Joe's video, he used a Amazon bought pickling spice. I'm using the same thing. You can make your own with peppercorn and different spices. This is simple, smells great, probably gonna taste great. Just gonna use this for our first try. Go from there. We're gonna get this warm, then we're gonna start toasting these up to really release those aromatics. And this is 1/2 cup of pickling spice. Now this smells amazing already, and it hasn't even started warming up yet. This pickling spice includes cinnamon, allspice, mustard seed, coriander, bay leaves, ginger, chilies, cloves, black pepper, mace, cardamom, and some sort of agent in there, probably the anti-clumping agent. So we're gonna put these in here, let these warm up and toast up, and you're really just opening up those spices for when you put them in the brine. A lot of that flavor will then get into the meat. So let's toast this up. And with this spice, you're really not trying to cook it, you're just warming it through to open it up. So you wanna make sure that the pan's not too hot because you don't wanna scorch them. This has been going for about a minute. We're gonna let this continue to go. Next, we're gonna add 1 cinnamon stick to this as well and toast that along with the pickling spices. I really wish you guys could smell this because this smells amazing. This has been toasting for about 5 minutes now. The smell is filling the air and it is beautiful. Next step we're gonna do is we're gonna add some water. We're gonna add 1 quart of water or 4 cups of water to this and let it simmer. You don't want it to boil. So there's our water. Now we're gonna add 1/3 cup of kosher salt and we're gonna add 1/3 cup of brown sugar. And we're just gonna let this go until that salt and sugar is dissolved in fully. And we're not trying to bring this to a boil. We just kind of wanna let this simmer in and let that sugar and salt dissolve properly. It's been about a minute. That sugar and salt is dissolved fully. We're gonna take this off heat right now and we're gonna add our final ingredient. This is 2 tablespoons of pink curing salt, and the reason you're doing that is because this is gonna brine for about 4 to 5 days. And this is gonna help keep that meat from spoiling in that 4 to 5 day window. So we're gonna pull this off, add this here. Get this mixed in good as well. Now that's all dissolved nicely, ready to go, but it's too hot right now for us to put our pork into because then it'll just start cooking it and that's gonna turn out bad. So what I'm gonna do is call a little audible here. Joe adds some water in here. I'm gonna add some ice to cool it down. And once this ice is melted down and cooled enough, we're gonna go ahead and throw this all together. The brine is all cooled down, that ice melted nicely. Temperature is room temperature, if not a little colder. Since this is gonna be sitting in the fridge for a few days, I wanna make sure it's safe. I'm gonna put it in one of these Reynolds kitchen bags, turkey size. Maybe it's a little overkill, but better safe than sorry. You don't wanna have spills in your refrigerator. So I'm gonna take this brine, pour some in here, brisket in here, then I'm gonna add the rest of the brine, tie it up, put the lid on it, put it in the fridge for 4 to 5 days. Got a nice layer on the bottom, let's get that brisket in here. Okay, now we're gonna add the rest of the brine. There is a little residual, so we're gonna kind of wash that away here and get that in there as well. We want to make sure this is fully submerged, so we're just going to add some water, give it a slush around, make sure it's mixed. Get in there, get this tight, nice and tight. Boom, fully submerged, and it gives us the freedom to move things around if we have to. Give it a good mix every 1 to 2 days, maybe even do it a little flipsy in there. So we're going to close this up, get this in the fridge, and let this brine for 4 to 5 days, and we'll be back when it's time to cook this. See you in a few days. We're back. It's been 5 days that this pork brisket has been brining in that pastrami brine. You can tell it's got this great pink color across here, which shows that it really took that brine. I'm gonna give this a quick trim here. Last time I cooked that pork brisket, it definitely needed a little trim done. So we're gonna do a quick trim right now. Just anything that's looks like fatty and stuff you're not going to want to eat, we're going to take off, basically just like you're doing a beef brisket. But some fat's okay, so we're going to keep, you know, some fat on here as well. You don't need to take it all off. See, like this here, this is all fat. We're going to take that off. These flaps will probably burn up, so we'll take that off. As I'm trimming this, the smell that's coming out of there is absolutely delicious. I cannot wait to cook this. Pork brisket is trimmed up and looking nice. Really took the shape of what a traditional beef brisket would look like. Now it's time to season it up. Now I've been contemplating on doing a complicated rub, a simple rub. I think today we're gonna stick with simple since this was my first time doing this. And the smell from this brine, I really think most of that flavor is gonna come from that brine we did. So I'm gonna do simple. I'm gonna do a little salt, just a little salt, because the brine does have salt and I don't want it to be too salty. So we're gonna start with a light dusting of kosher salt. Just light, nothing terribly heavy. That's it. Next, we're gonna hit some granulated garlic. Again, just a little coating of that. Then we're gonna hit it with some coarse black pepper. I'm using 16 mesh black pepper on this. Now this, go ahead and hit it liberally like you would a regular beef brisket. Get all the sides on there. This is where a lot of flavor is gonna come from, and this is where that great bark and crunch is gonna come from as well. So you wanna get that clear it up really nicely. Flip it over, do the other side. Same thing, a light dusting of salt. That granulated garlic. And that coarse black pepper. There we have it. We have our seasoned pastrami pork brisket ready to go onto the grill. And today we are using the Weber Smoky Mountain to cook this. I'm starting with a bed of unlit charcoals with chunks of cherry wood within that. And I'm gonna start this by putting a small chimney of lit coals in the center, and that's gonna burn out pretty uniformly across. I'm gonna keep the vents on this about 1/3 open. I am using a heat deflector on this, the fire dial, not using a water bowl. There's no water pan in this, only the fire dial. And we're gonna cook this until it gets a nice bark on it. And then we're gonna figure out, are we gonna wrap it? Are we gonna foil boat it or just let it ride? We'll see when the time comes and we'll see how it's looking. At the end of the day, this is gonna cook to roughly that 200, 203 degree mark, just like we do a normal brisket. So let's go get this on the grill. Weber Smoky Mountain is up to temp. We're rocking right around 270 degrees right now, which is perfect. I'm gonna try to keep it in the temperature range of 250 to 275 degrees. So let's go ahead, get this pastrami pork brisket on the grill. Kind of giving it the shape I want it to take as it cooks, because as it cooks, it's gonna solidify in that shape. Grill's closed up, pork brisket is on. Now it's time to let it roll. I'm not gonna open this up for at least a couple hours before we come check, see if it needs a spritz and start checking internal temperature. I'm not sure how long this is gonna take. 3.5 pounds. After we trimmed, it may be closer to around 3 pounds. So it could take anywhere, I don't know, 4, 6 hours. We'll see how long this takes. We'll be back when it's time to check. We've been going 4 hours. I haven't opened this up to check at all. Let's go take a peek, see what we're looking at, take some temperatures, and see if we're ready to wrap. Now this pork brisket is looking great. Could still see a lot of juices coming out of there. That's gotta be from that brine, and just a great piece of meat here as well. Let's take a couple temps. We're probing in the 160s. We're gonna go ahead and give this a wrap because we really like the look of the bark that's set up on here. So we're just gonna finish it up in the wrap. I'm gonna do a quick foil wrap on this and get it back on the grill. Quick spritz first. That is straight water. Just gonna give this a quick wrap. Back onto the grill, and this time I'm gonna put a temp probe in here just so I could see it right out the rest of the way. And when this hits that 200, 203, I'm gonna come probe for tenderness. And when it's ready to go, we're gonna let it rest. Hopefully get to rest it a couple hours before we slice into it. Let's get this back on the grill. Pork brisket pastrami is done. This smoked for about 5.5 hours till it reached an internal temp of 205. That's when it got nice and tender. Then we pulled it off, let it rest in a cooler for another 2.5 hours, and right now it's probing at about 160, 165, which is perfect slicing temperature. So we're gonna open this up, take a look, slice it, give it a taste. Let's do this. Oh man, that smell, it's coming out great. Wow. I'm getting such amazing aroma coming off of this. I cannot wait. And it's got that brisket jiggle. I'm just gonna cut it along, catch a few slices here, and I'm gonna try to cut this pretty thin because I like my pastrami thin on my sandwiches. Oh, wow. You can see that beautiful color in there that the curing salts and that brine made. Gosh, that looks fantastic. Try to get it close up here. Got a nice pink color to it. Super juicy. I can't wait to try this. I'm gonna slice a piece off here. Wow, that flavor is amazing. This is crazy. I don't even know how to describe this because it's pork. There's almost a bacon feel to it, a cured pork, you know, almost bacon, but it's got that pastrami texture and that pastrami flavor. So this is a great mix of both worlds, the pork world and the pastrami world. This is definitely a must. Time to make a sandwich with this. I'm gonna slice me up some more pieces here and make a sandwich real quick. All right, now check this out. This is how we're gonna make this sandwich. I'm gonna hit it with some of this spicy Coleman's mustard. I love it. Gives you a kick with a great mustard flavor. And I'm gonna throw some horseradish on here as well. Really kick it up. Now, is this traditional? No, I don't think so. But neither is making it out of pork. I'm gonna hit the other side with a little mustard as well. Throw a little cheese on there, some baby Swiss. Oh man. Pile this on nice and tall. There you have it. Give this a slice up real quick here. Look at that. Oh man, I've been waiting all day for this. Let's go. Absolutely amazing. This is definitely gonna be a do-over. This sandwich is phenomenal. Give it a try. Get yourself a pork brisket. Follow the recipe that I did in this video. You will be amazed. If you like what we did here, please hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Check me out on social media, and we will be talking to you all soon. Cheers, everybody, and thanks again for checking out the video. Peace.